Hey everyone, and welcome! So, you've probably heard the term mutual funds thrown around, and maybe it sounded a little complicated. Well, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by all the jargon, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to slice through all that noise and give you a super simple guide to one of the best ways to get started with investing. Let's demystify this thing together.
Okay, before we dive into what investing is, we really need to get a handle on why it's so incredibly important. See, there's this invisible force working against your money every single day. I like to call it the silent wallet thief.
You felt this, right? You look at your bank account, the number is the same, but when you go to the grocery store or fill up your tank, it just doesn't go as far as it used to. That's not just a feeling, you're not imagining it, it's a real thing, and it's called inflation.
Now take a look at this slide. This shows you exactly how powerful inflation is, and the numbers are kind of mind-blowing. If your monthly expenses are, say, 25,000 rupees today, and we assume a pretty average inflation of 6%, well, in 30 years, you'll need over 1.4 lakh rupees just to buy the same exact stuff. Your money's buying power is constantly getting weaker.
And if you want to see the long-term damage, this one number says it all. 100 rupees. If you just stashed it under your mattress 45 years ago, today it would only have the buying power of about 3.5 rupees. That's insane, right? So here's the big takeaway. Just saving your money isn't enough. It has to grow, and it has to grow faster than inflation is eating it.
So how in the world do you fight back against that? Well, this brings us to investing, and we're going to talk about one of the most popular and accessible ways for anyone to start, mutual funds. You can almost think of it as investing on easy mode.
At its heart, a mutual fund is a really simple idea. It's all about teamwork. Instead of you trying to figure out which stocks or bonds to buy all by yourself, you pool your money together with thousands of other people. This creates one big pot of money that a professional can then manage.
And the process is super straightforward. First, you and lots of other folks put your money into the pool. Second, a professional fund manager takes that money and invests it in, dozens, sometimes hundreds of different things based on a set strategy. Third, hopefully, those investments make money. They generate returns. And finally, those profits, or sometimes losses, are shared among all the investors. It's money teamwork.
So why do this? Well, the benefits are huge. For starters, you get a full-time expert managing your money. You're also instantly diversified, which is just a fancy way of saying you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Plus, it's easy to buy and sell your shares, the whole thing is regulated to protect you, and it's cheap because you're splitting the costs with everyone else.
Okay, so this sounds pretty good, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Not all mutual funds are the same. Now comes the fun part, where you get to choose your adventure based on what you're trying to achieve with your money and how much risk you're comfortable with.
Let's start with the two basic building blocks. On one hand, you have equity funds. These invest in stocks. They've got the potential for really high growth, but they also come with more ups and downs. That's volatility. On the other hand, you've got debt funds. These invest in safer things, like bonds. They tend to offer more stable, predictable growth with a lot less drama. It's that classic trade-off, risk versus reward. And to keep it simple, almost every fund you'll ever see falls into one of three main families. You've got your equity funds for growth, your debt funds for stability, and then you have hybrid funds, which, you guessed it, mix a bit of both. So whether you want to go for it, play it safe, or land somewhere in the middle, there's a fund family out there for you.
Now, having a team of pros managing a big, diversified portfolio for you is a pretty amazing service. And like any professional service, it comes with a cost, and it operates under some strict rules. So let's talk about the price of admission.
The main cost you'll hear about is called the total expense ratio, or TER. It's just a small percentage fee that's charged annually to cover all the costs of running the fund. Think of it like a management fee. It's all very transparent. And here's the key. A lower TER is generally better because it means more of your money gets to stay invested and work for you.
So what are you actually paying for with that fee? It's not just profit. As you can see from this chart, it covers all the real operational costs, things like the salaries for the research team, fees for making trades, paying the auditors to check the books, and keeping all the records straight. It's the cost of running the whole operation.
And here's something that should give you a lot of peace of mind. Regulation. In India, the entire mutual fund industry is watched over by SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Their whole job is to protect investors like you, make sure everything's transparent, and ensure everyone plays by the rules.
All right, so you've picked a fund, you understand the costs, but how do you actually know if it's doing a good job?
Well, that brings us to our final section, learning how to read the fund's report card. A fund's performance is never judged in a vacuum. It's always compared against something called a benchmark. A benchmark is just a standard, usually a big market index like the Nifty 50. The ultimate question is always, did the fund manager beat the market? The benchmark gives you the answer. So where do you find this kind of information? You don't have to be a detective. There are two key documents that give you everything you need. The first is the Key Information Memorandum, or KIM. That's the quick summary of what the fund is all about. And the second is the monthly fund fact sheet. That's your report card, showing you exactly how it's doing and where your money is. We've all seen this line everywhere, and for a very good reason. It's not just legal jargon, it's honestly the single most important piece of advice. Understanding that investments go up and down, and doing your homework by actually reading the documents, that's the foundation of being a smart investor.
So, there we have it. We've talked about the why, the what, and the how of mutual funds. We've gone from the silent threat of inflation all the way to a practical tool you can use to build your wealth. The real question isn't if you should invest, but how you're going to get started. Now that you've got the basics down, what's the first question you're going to ask about your own financial future?